Hi friends, welcome back to my channel again. So this video will be the continuation to the previous video, that is by the process of reproduction how a flower will turn into a fruit. So please see my previous video. If you watch this video directly then you may not understand clearly. So let us continue the explanation. First of all, I will also repeat the explanation of my previous video. So I said this is an ovule. Ovule is present in the ovary. Ovary is a female organ of the female reproductive part of the plant. We know that pistil is the female reproductive part and ovary is the organ of the pistil, and inside ovary some of the ovules are present. So I had drawn an ovule in a big size for better understanding. So this is the ovule. First of all, I will repeat the explanation of structure of ovule. Ovule contains 7 number of cells. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it contains 8 number of nucleus. It contains 8 nuclei. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here each of the cell contains a single nucleus, but the cell that is present in the middle of the ovule, the cell that is present in the center of the ovule contains 2 nuclei. You can observe here it contains 2 nuclei and all the remaining cells contains each of the nucleus. And coming to the names, this center cell, the cell that is located at the center of the ovule is called as polar cell. This polar cell consists of 2 number of nuclei. So that's why I had denoted with capital P. So polar cell, there is only one polar cell in the entire ovule. And coming to these three cells, these three cells together called as antipodals. There are 3 number of antipodals as you observe here. See, there are 3 number of antipodals, and this bottom, in the bottom's 3 cells, the middle one is called as egg cell. So that egg cell I had written here. There is only single egg cell, and these remaining 2 cells I had said that this is an egg cell, and remaining 2 cells are called synergids, and there are 2 number of synergids as you observe. So there are 2 number of synergids. So total there are 7 number of cells and 8 number of nuclei. So this is the entire statistics of the cells present in an ovule of ovary of the pistil of an female reproductive organ. So coming to the explanation, this is a pollen tube that is created by the pollen grain. So in this manner the pollen grain travels and reaches here. So this is the pollen grain, and pollen grain sends 2 nucleus inside the ovule. So this 2 nucleus will be sent by the pollen grain into the ovule and it will reach us here. 2 nucleus are there. So among those 2 male nucleus, we will call them as male nucleus. Why? Because that pollen grain had come from the male part of the flower, that is the anther. And there are 2 number of nucleus. So one nucleus, among these 2, one nucleus will fuse with the egg cell. Both will be gets fused, so that here one nucleus will be disappeared and egg cell also disappears and zygote will be formed. I will denote zygote as Z. So let us assume this is as zygote for better understanding. So this is zygote. And what about the remaining nucleus? So before that, I had explained you polar cell. This is the polar cell and it contains 2 nuclei, and these 2 nuclei will fuse with each other to form a single one. So in this way these will fuse with each other to form a single one. So in this way those 2 nuclei will fuse to form a single one, and this single nuclei will, and this single one is called as fusion nucleus. We will call it as fusion nucleus. Why? Because two nucleus fused with each other. That's why it is called as fusion nucleus. And this fusion nucleus will fuse with the remaining male nucleus. So both gets fused with each other. Means both in this way they fuses with each other. So then it will form a tissue. We know that a group of cells forms together as a single tissue. Here the fusion nucleus fuses with the remaining male nucleus to form endosperm, a tissue called endosperm. So I will denote this is endosperm. This is the tissue of endosperm. So slowly this outer layer will be disappearing. Then here we got zygote and here we got endosperm, a tissue. This zygote, by taking the food and water, there will be growth to this plant by taking the food and water. Not only plant, for any of the organism, for the purpose of the growth, they need food, water. Why? Because actually they need nutrients and minerals. They will get these nutrients and minerals from the sources like food and water. So it will take food and water and it will store the food and water in the endosperm tissue. The food and water will be stored in the tissue of endosperm. So next, as this food and water will be consumed by the ovule, the zygote starts developing slowly to form an embryo. We are well known about it. Let us assume this is an embryo denoted by E. So this will be forming as embryo. So slowly the food and water will be consumed by the embryo and it will increase in its size. So it will day by day, by consuming food and water, it will increase in this manner, increase in its size in this way. So as embryo is taking up a large number of space, slowly the endosperm tissue disappears. But it will not completely disappear. It do not gets completely disappeared. It reduces its size. Here it reduces its size. So this endosperm tissue will move here and reduces, becomes tiny, and this embryo will become larger. At one stage it will stop becoming larger and this embryo, inside this embryo, cotyledons will be formed. Cotyledons will be formed in the embryo. It may contain one number of cotyledon or it may either contain two number of cotyledon. Let us assume it contains only one number of cotyledon. So let us assume this is as cotyledon denoted by C and this is embryo. So what happens means, as the food and water is consumed by the embryo, here new organ came, cotyledon. So it also requires food and water. So it also consumes the food and water, and slowly the endosperm tissue completely disappears and the ovule will be increasing, the embryo will be increasing in its size day by day. So in this way embryo will increase and occupy a major part of the ovule, and cotyledon will also increase. So in this way endosperm tissue disappears and then here actual process starts. A tough coat, a tough layer will be start forming at the outer surface of the ovule. A tough coat will be formed here. So after forming the tough coat, it will become as a seed. So it will become as a small seed. Actually the ovule is also a small one. If you assume this is an ovule, it will become in this manner, increase its size and it becomes as a seed, and we know that this ovule is present inside the ovary. Means outer layer it also contains the ovary. Here I am unable to draw, but there is ovary. That ovary will slowly starts to form into a fruit. So here seed is formed and here if you assume that there is ovary, this ovary will increase in its size to form fruit. And what about the, you may get the doubt that what about the remaining parts of the flower, such as petals and uh, pedicel? They are called as floral part of the flower, which do not play any major role in the process of reproduction. They will be falling down. So if there are petals in this way, they will be falling down, slowly disappearing, and the pedicel in this way it is also starts disappearing. So here final result we got a fruit with the seeds inside it. So in this way a flower will turn into a fruit. Friends, if you study in depth this topic, this concept will be more and more interesting. I also got interested by reading this topic, that's why I wanted to make a video on this. So friends, you must notice another thing, that here I said the endosperm tissue will disappear, but in some plants such as corn plants, pea plants, the endosperm tissue will not disappear. So in this way there are some of the differences noticed in the process of reproduction that depends upon the kind of plant. But what you must do means you must understand the basic and practical concept. This is the basic concept and basic process which is behind the entire process of reproduction in flowers. Entire process, how a flower will turn into a fruit. So friends, I had started from the flower and I had turned into a fruit. So I hope you like this video. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.